Was it just, do we list them in order, or was it just
20? No order.
All right, I think I'm good. Oh, Casablanca. Did you end up watching it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just start. Cheers, buddy. We'll start
Cheers,
right
good to see
there.
you. I don't think I've seen you since like the infamous fantasy draft that didn't win again.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if you want to use those or not. I don't know if it makes a difference.
I can hear you good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just what I used to set the thing up. Yeah, Casablanca. I did end up watching it. Watched all of those once. Gone with the Wind.
Oh, how was that slog of a movie?
Have you ever seen it? Okay, so we're doing 20 favorite movies. This has been in the works for about a year now.
Yeah.
And
good long time.
Because we talk about movies so much, and so we said let's put our 20 favorite movies in no order. Oh yeah, you know what? You just said right before we did do animated, so so my animated ones.
You have a revision, or
I had Wall-E and Aladdin, but they have like a separate little category for them. But we'll figure this out. Watched Gone with the Wind. It was awful. It was one of the worst movies I ever saw. My mom said she loved it, so I'm watching all that, right? Like Sound of Music. My mom loves that, right? Like Wizard of Oz. Obviously, I've seen that.
I hate that movie.
Yeah?
It's so boring and so dull.
Oh, I like it.
I understand. I can appreciate the like important aspect of it's the first color movie, and it probably blew people's minds, but I think it's just horrendous.
And then watched Casablanca. Loved it. It made the top 20.
Yeah, I heard it's good.
It's one of those only... but I've never... And then Citizen Kane was also on that list. Good, but it's, you know...
You think it's overblown at this point?
Yeah. And
is it because you know the ending, sort of? Because it was spoofed on The Simpsons so well?
No, and that's hilarious watching some of these movies is how much... Here's looking at you, kid. And I'm like, oh, that's what...
Yeah, Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah, that's what this is from. So much of that. And what else... you got to get on that plane or you're going to regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but forever, for the rest of your life. It's like, oh, that's... So, yeah, watching ththese old movies, you get that. But, no, what's this... Like, you can spoil Citizen Kane. It's only 60 years old. What do you think the ending is?
Well, it's the one... Citizen Kane's when he's the, like, rich billionaire. He's dying, and he's like...
Yeah.
It says Rosebud when he dies, and he drops the... snow globe or whatever, and Rosebud was the name of his sled, right?
Yeah,
and,
so
and Mr. Burns does it for his bear Binky.
Yeah, right. So I never even put those together till you're saying that now.
Yeah.
But no, man, Casablanca was good.
We watched an old one over Christmas. What it is? Black and white. It's not Miracle on 34th Street. It's one of those other ones that are around the same.
I have no idea.
Look it up.
I'm not good at these. Dude, yeah. So Casablanca held up real good. Citizen Kane was good. Cool story. But they did stuff like it's black and white.
Yeah.
But the camera like going up the building and in the skylight and stuff like that. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. They had the practical effects. How do they do effects back in the black and white days?
There's some
just kind of
very impressive like film work. I don't know if you ever like... or on YouTube as much, but if you see like the Corridor Crew, their channel, they're like VFX guys, and sometimes they break down like old VFX, old stunts with like other professionals in the industry, and some of it's just crazy how they would have done these paintings and mirror work and camera work. It's just like, how do you, like, there's so much creativity, whereas now you just go, okay, we'll move it on in the computer. The movie we watched was It's a Wonderful Life. Very old.
Right.
Long movie.
So that's got to be on ones. Was it that good? Is that on your top 20?
Hell no. No.
Because this is different from movies that you think are the most impactful or the best 20 movies.
Yeah.
This is your favorite 20.
Yeah.
So to look back at some of those old ones, it's hard for that to be my favorite movie. I can appreciate them, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah. I feel it's like things you can watch over and over again on my list.
Yeah.
Where I get an enjoyment out of it, or something I can put on if I'm sick at home and I'm still going to have a great time, or you can quote it till the cows come home.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why... I had a hard time not just filling mine up with comedies, because I could just watch, like, I don't have Step Brothers in mine. It's in my maybes.
I have a pretty good list of maybes, but like I think I might have 2 or 3 comedies on mine.
Yeah, and so it's like, oh man, I could have 22 Jump Street. I could just keep watching that movie on repeat, man.
That was a classic.
What are some other of these maybes? Yeah, Superbad.
Well, that one, jump ahead, made my list.
Yeah,
I love Superbad. It's so funny.
Yeah, that could be on.
I had Wedding Crashers as a maybe.
Wedding Crashers as a maybe.
Yeah, it was one of the ones that I really like it. I think it's an awesome comedy. We watched it, especially getting married this year, and it's really funny, but I couldn't bump it into that other category. I think that was one of the only ones, because with a comedy, like for me, if I see it too many times, I know the joke's coming and it kind of falls flat. So I need to watch it with long gaps in between.
Yeah. Okay, well, why don't I'll rattle mine off, you rattle yours off, and then...
Do you want to do them in like chunks of 5 maybe instead?
And then we can slow play it after. Sure.
You want to start at 1 or go from 20? Because I feel like my 1 to 5 are like the top ones that I know are my like top 5.
Are near your top 5?
Yeah.
Okay, see, mine are not. Mine are just fully spread out. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so just go we'll do our 20, and then I got so many maybes that we could talk about too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Jaws, Shawshank Redemption, all of my maybes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Little Miss Sunshine, you ever seen that?
I have.
I liked that movie, in the right thing. And another thing about movies too, and then you look back on them, some that did make my list, for instance, spoiler alert, Black Swan, I think that's what it was called.
With the Natalie Portman, she's a ballerina.
Yeah, kind of like they're going crazy.
Yeah.
But I got, big bowl of popcorn, hit the bong, mom and dad's house. They're out of town for the weekend. It's Friday night. And so you're just in a good state to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Right? So that plays into it a lot as well, as how do you watch.
Absolutely. And I think they've done studies of if you watch a movie at the theater with popcorn and all that other stuff in a good crowd,
yeah,
you're gonna have a overall better enjoyment with a lesser film than if you're going to like it's supposed to be a good film, terrible crowd, no popcorn, it's not as fun. And working at the movie theater, I've seen this too, right? Like I went and saw with some buddies, and it was like opening night. We went and saw 22 Jump Street. Great movie, hilarious. I went in and checked on the theater with one of our other friends that was there a few weeks later. Smaller theater, very like low attendance numbers, and he was like, it was just okay. It wasn't that funny because no one was laughing. You're not having that shared experience with everyone else in the theater.
Yeah. Yeah, so how you go into the theater is good because you can't have your phone. You actually put your phone in silent or do not disturb or whatever when you're there. Watching movies at home, that's hard to do. I have to actually, I've said this lots, have to put my phone in the cupboard, in my bedroom, on my bed or something, so it's away from me. I've been watching The Wire. And watch the first episode, right? And some of those things, The Sopranos even, I'm sure would be like that. If you're trying to watch like The Godfather and you're on your phone, you're lost. Because you actually even have to watch that movie a few times even.
There's certain shows and movies, like you said, like I will not touch my phone. Like Game of Thrones, would never pick up my phone because you're going to miss those like subtle hints of dialogue and the character development in those scenes. And you're going to be like, what the hell happened 2 scenes later? Yeah. Or an episode later and you just missed it.
Yeah, okay, well, chunks of 5. I'll start off. Okay, my top 5 is actually pretty close to my top 5, I guess, because they're probably the 5 that are just no-brainers.
Yeah, you put
them
down.
It was like the first 5 I put down, okay, these are no-brainers, not necessarily my favorite. Okay, so my, not calling it top 5, my first 5 of the 20 are Moneyball, Pulp Fiction, School of Rock, Apocalypse Now, Black Swan.
Okay. Is this Apocalypse Now Redux or the...
So we'll go back.
Okay.
We'll go back. We'll go into detail here. So hit your last 5, and then I'll kind of slowly go through.
I have Saving Private Ryan, The Dark Knight, Jurassic Park, Return of the King, and Indiana Jones. Oh, we only allowed 1 per franchise.
Right.
So that was, for some of them, it's difficult, right? Like,
yeah. So here's a spoiler alert. I left Star Wars right off. Star Wars right off.
Not even any of the
You know what? I hate Star Wars now. The new 3 pissed me off so much that I'm looking back. It's like, no, because the new ones are so shitty, Empire Strikes Back doesn't even get on.
Wow.
Fuck you. Get out. The new 3 were so bad, dude. And now that it's aged and I can look back at them, I think they're even worse.
we can circle back. Force Awakens, I think, is still good.
Yeah.
But they should have let J.J. Abrams continue on in all three instead of going different director every time, which I don't think is a terrible idea, but you have to have a cohesive narrative for them all to follow. And then to go, okay, Rian Johnson, you did The Last Jedi, which is a departure from what we just had, and you kind of directed us into a corner, and then we'll bring J.J. back and just ruin it with the last one. Like we watched the last one recently, and it's so bad.
So why didn't they just write them all at once? Why did they make a movie and then totally?
I think
they butcher and throw stuff out, and like this Snape guy is giant. They're making him look. This his name is Snoke. And they're like making him look awesome, and then
guess what? It's the Emperor.
Cut him in half. It's the and it's just like, what was the whole plan of that build up?
There's a lot of stuff in there that I think was so reactionary, and they were like, "Oh, what did the fans like? What didn't they like?
Yeah.
What does China like specifically?"
And sell some toys. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, we're getting off on a tangent now, but they totally rearranged their first Force Awakens poster to take Finn, the black character, out of prominence for the Chinese poster market. Put BB-8 right at the front, the droid, who doesn't speak,
right,
and he's the front because he sell better in China. And then I think that dictated how the character of Finn was, because he, in the first one to the last one, if you watch The Force Awakens in a vacuum and The Rise of Skywalker in a vacuum, his character is non-existent from the last one, and he's the focal point of the first one. It's arguably the most interesting character of the three main ones that they have.
Yeah, actually being inside the fucking Empire.
Yeah. Possibly force sensitive.
Yeah, the first one of that trilogy was good, but then... Yeah, buddy, he's like stopping the laser. He's so badass. Kylo Ren just such a monster.
Yeah.
And then first time that Rey picks up a lightsaber, like kicks his ass, and the planet falls apart. When the planet's falling apart, it's like.
But I mean, like, Kylo Ren's hurt and he's conflicted and everything there, and he's just killed his father. Should have tuned Rey up. But
should have killed somebody.
In the second one,
that was bad.
Kylo Ren's whole thing is he's breaking the mold. He doesn't want to be the apprentice anymore. He wants to run the show. He doesn't want to be Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And then we just go back in 5 minutes of the Last Jedi, and he's fixed his mask, and he's now the apprentice to Palpatine again.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, so I know a lot of nerds have like a big boner for Star Wars, and I was probably among those nerds, but my boner for Star Wars is over.
Book of Boba Fett's been pretty good.
Okay.
Just so you're aware.
All right, okay, yeah, tangent, whatever, that's good. Moneyball, Pulp Fiction, School of Rock, Apocalypse Now, Black Swan. That was my, what was your top 5 again?
Saving Private Ryan, The Dark Knight, Jurassic Park, the first one.
Yeah.
Return of the King, and Indiana Jones, and the first one.
That's your top 5? The first, what's it called?
The first Indiana Jones. What is it?
Temple of Doom?
No.
What's the second one?
It's Ark of the Covenant.
Right. Is that where the Nazis' faces melt?
Yes.
Okay, that's sick.
Such a good one.
Moneyball, so
the big
good.
boulder too.
The what?
The big boulder.
Right, it was just iconic
that opening
scenes all
scene,
over.
right? He whips the guy in the first scene.
Yeah.
They get the gun, right?
Yeah, you know what? I might have overlooked those movies a tiny bit because they were good, and maybe I should have had them on, but never quite made it.
Yeah. So do you want to, or would you just want to go through all of them now and then come back and parse a few out, or?
Sure. Like just rattle the whole thing off?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's just get it
and we
right
can just
out there.
Go back and...
Okay, so to repeat, Moneyball, Pulp Fiction, School of Rock, Apocalypse Now, Black Swan. That was my top 5. Moving in. Joker. I know you... see, some of these... these are kind of... Some of them I put on just to spite you a bit, too.
What is Lethal Weapon 4 on there?
Joker in there. Dumb and Dumber. Just up there. I have the Godfather, and then in brackets 2, because back to our rules, you can only have one of them. Either one of those, I guess.
I appreciate the number 2 maybe a little bit more than number 1. But
yeah.
It's hard to separate them, right? It's kind of like the Lord of the Rings.
It's like whichever one I watched most recent is the one I say.
Yeah.
Left Lord of the Rings off of my list.
Wow.
I know, and I regretted that, and that is in my maybes, but I liked it. All my friends had big boner for it, so just being a natural contrarian, then I was like, okay, it's kind of...
It's not as good as people think, blah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so, maybe that... Okay, so what did I say? Godfather, 1 or 2. I have 2 down, so we'll go 2. Then Casablanca. Watched it, loved it. The Dark Knight, I saw you had that on yours.
Mm-hmm.
Ninja Turtles, 1991 one. I could name every word to the whole movie. I could write the script, and we could reproduce the movie right now.
I have never seen it.
Jim Henson did the puppets.
Yeah, those are incredible
puppet master,
puppets.
and it's like in the 90s, right? Stuff that I don't like stuff that looks fake, and they looked great in that. Infinity War.
I have that one.
I think you could probably do multiple from the MCU, but as far as just the Avengers, it was kind of that or Endgame. But I thought Infinity War, just how they end on the down, 3 hours, Hulk gets his ass, all this stuff.
Absolutely.
Just absolutely.
And it was such a. I think we went and saw it together.
Yeah.
That moment of at the end of the movie, it's quiet and it just ends, and you're like, holy shit! Like they just snapped out Black Panther, who just had the biggest movie 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. And it was in the Oscars. You're like, there's no way that they're gonna snap out Spider-Man and this guy and this guy and this person, and all of a sudden it's like gone.
Keep on. We'll come back to that. We'll talk a lot about Infinity War, I'm sure. Just a masterpiece. Probably the most expensive movie ever made. Best act. Just awesome. Black Hawk Down. I have Black Hawk Down, and it was between that and Saving Private Ryan, which you had. Yeah. And I think I mean, Saving Private Ryan might be the better, more impactful movie. I like Black Hawk Down. Just friggin' loved it. Back to the Future. Going with part 3.
I'm not a Back to the Future fan, so that's fair. Is that the one that they go to the Old West?
Yeah. Love that movie. 2001, A Space Odyssey. Saw that. Didn't see it as a kid. Saw it when I was probably like 24. Would like change my life kind of movie. Die Hard with a Vengeance. Perhaps my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, we've reviewed it. Go check our review on that one if you want to see.
Yeah, and then The Martian. Have you ever seen that?
That was a good movie.
Army of Darkness. If you ever heard of that.
That's what is it, Book of the Dead or whatever sequel?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen that. Or Evil Dead, sorry.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2, and then Army of Darkness. I just love it. Parasite.
Oh yeah,
I have a 19.
A recent one, yeah.
And then Happy Gilmore, comedy. Had to leave a bunch of comedies off. We'll get to that. Okay,
yeah.
So there's my 20.
So it was my top 5. We went over that already. 6, I had Infinity War.
Yeah.
Then I had Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I had Django Unchained.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, then I had Jaws. I can always watch it. I think it's enjoyable. Anchorman.
Yeah.
Anchorman.
Yeah. That's in your top 20.
It is like, as a kid, I probably saw it when I was 10 or 11 when it came out. Like, it's so funny, man. Like, it's so quotable.
Yeah.
It's an all-timer. Superbad.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, because you have to choose one Star Wars.
That's the best one. Yeah. In my opinion.
Yeah.
American History X.
Yeah. Very good movie.
Yeah, it's really good. The Lion King.
Okay, yeah.
Original recipe Lion King. Don't come at me with that reanimated stuff they did a few years ago.
That was bad. That was really bad.
It was bad because you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
The songs were fine. The acting was all good. There was no emotion. Right? You didn't see the emote from the Lions at all.
It just sucked. It fully sucked.
Friday Night Lights. The best sports movie. Best
funny
football
how we
movie.
have some that are the same and some that make me want to throw your phone out the window.
This one, I don't know if I'm in love with this pick, but the movie Seven.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Is that where they find the head in the box at the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for the movie from 1996 or whatever.
Yeah.
The Big Lebowski.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have to maybe revise mine. I forgot about that.
One that I can watch all the time. This next one, Gladiator.
Yeah. See, never. I like Gladiator and watched it a couple times, but a lot of friends, big boner for it. And
Love it. I love the sword and sandals. I've always been fascinated with that aspect of history. Can't wait to go in the summer to Rome. So looking forward to that. Forrest Gump.
Yeah, Forrest Gump that
was just one I reconsidered right before we hit record. And Man of Steel.
Oh, really?
Exactly, yeah.
Man of Steel.
That is, we can get into it, but I can watch that. I can watch it maybe once a month and not get sick of it, especially that first hour where they're kind of deep diving into Superman's backstory, and I think they did it so well.
I'd have to watch that again. And also, you said, which I've also haven't seen, Justice League, Jack Snyder or whatever.
Oh, the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
I would love to watch that again. It's 4 hours. If you haven't seen it, it's 4 hours. if you're a comic book fan or you hated the first Justice League, it's 4 hours to really invest in.
Yeah, I'm fine doing that. Okay, so let's we can dive right in to it. I don't know if there's anything special to say about Moneyball. Pulp Fiction, we both had that, hey?
Yeah.
Just...
I think it's one of those movies where there's so much subtle story to it.
Yeah.
And things you can pick up every time, and it's such a good mix.
Every time you watch it, you see something, and you're like, wait, in the back of the diner, that guy walks by, and it kind of ties together because the guy will walk by in this scene, and then way at the end of the movie, it just like very subtle.
Yeah, just the way that the story's broken up, and he shot the movie, and how he did it on, it's kind of Quentin's first big movie.
Yeah. And then School of Rock, I mean...
It was a good movie.
Just speaks to my soul. Apocalypse Now, it was either going to be that or Platoon.
I think as a Vietnam movie, Platoon is the superior film.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I had both. It was one or the other for me. I wasn't going to put both of them on, so it was one or the other. And I watched Platoon in one of those good modes, popcorn basement, like super good, dark kind of thing, and just thought it was awesome. But then I watched them both again recently. And I was like, I think that Apocalypse Now.
There's on Crave, if you have the subscription, there's the Apocalypse Now documentary.
Yeah. That
I really want to watch, like 90 minutes. It kind of goes into how shitty it was to film this movie, especially with
Marlon Brando being a fat prima donna
piece of garbage on set, and so I heard that's pretty interesting. But have you read The Heart of Darkness that it's based off of?
No. Not really a book guy. Been doing some book on tapes, audible.com, but as far as physically reading books, I guess that kind of makes me sound dumb. I should cut that out.
You know what? I don't have a problem with like audiobooks. I feel like if that's the best way you digest the media, then go for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like Heart of Darkness is a book written in like the late 1800s, and it's the Apocalypse Now is based off of it, where in the book of Heart of Darkness, it's this guy from England. He's sent to go to the Congo and sail up the river to stop this guy who's being kind of AWOL from this rubber company, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's been killing natives and just kind of gotten into the native lifestyle down there, just like Marlon Brando's character. So and it's his whole journey to like see it.
Yeah.
It's very similar. The movie is based off the book Heart of Darkness, and it's good. It's worth the read. It's a little slow, a little dry, but you can definitely appreciate that movie more after you've read that book.
And I did like the long version. That was what you're asking me, the short version of the long version.
Redux, yeah.
I like the long one.
That's what I think. That's the only one I've ever seen.
3.5 hours. I think that whole part where they go to the French colony. That's like a weird.
It's very interesting.
It's very weird, and I think the first time I watched it, that wasn't in there.
No.
And then when I rewatched it, so that must have been what the or the add-on or the extra part.
Quite a bit. Then
they go in and they have like the servant, and they act totally like they're in. But it's like, wait a minute, there's war all around you, so it's a weird little.
Well, yeah, I mean the history of Vietnam, it was a French colony, right?
Okay.
So in the after the Second World War, in the late 40s, early 50s, the Vietnamese actually successfully took back the colony from the French. And so that's where the instability of the government comes from.
Right.
In Vietnam, and why the Americans were like, well, the Chinese and communism are going to flow in from the north, and then we need to get in there. And so there was a lot of destabilization, and that's how the Vietnam War kind of started.
Yeah.
With the American-backed loose democratic South versus the popular Viet Minh North with Ho Chi Minh that was communist based, but the people wanted it. And at the end, that's why they lost the wars, because the people believed in Ho Chi Minh and his ideals more than the shit corrupt politicians that the Americans were always instilling in the South.
Right.
And there was just poor strategy all around. Like you look at something like Hamburger Hill, where they take the hill and give it up immediately.
Yeah.
Like they fight tooth and nail, these American soldiers dying in the thousands, and
it's always
they just
weird
helicopter on out of there, and it gets taken over immediately after.
It's always weird to me sending children to go die on literally the other side of, like, some couldn't be further away unless you're on another planet.
Yeah.
Some of these places, right?
I know.
Invasion of Iraq, right? I mean, we could talk about that all day.
Those two events parallel each other so much.
And it's like, what? Like, what? what business do you have way the hell over there, you know?
For certain things, yeah. I mean, you know, world wars are a little different, I think.
Yeah.
Where you're fighting for like a clear-cut ideal.
Maybe, but I was like, I don't know, it's too much World War. I mean, I don't know, but the USA wasn't really in it until they kind of stayed out, right? They're kind of, we're gonna chill, and then they kind of got, you know, in with Japan, so they had no other choice, and then because they're in with Japan, that means they're in it. With Germany.
The First World War was a lot more of them on the sidelines,
yeah,
and came in and tried to glory hog it,
yeah,
from like Canada, Britain, the Allies there, but Second World War, because of what happened in the First World War and the Great Depression, the U.S. government really like kind of hamstrung FDR and his policies, and because he was kind of like, hey, like we should do something here. When the like Allies started to get into the war, and all the Senate and everything were like, no, we're gonna stay on the sidelines. We need to be neutral.
Yeah.
Blah blah. And so what he did, he invented the Lend-Lease Act. So what he would do is he allowed the U.S. to be a manufacturer and send goods and military supplies to the Allied forces in Europe, and he would lend them to them and lease them to them, and they would repay them. So that's why the Americans got so rich after the war, because all these countries were paying them out of pocket. They didn't have to rebuild their infrastructure or anything like that.
Right.
And so the Americans just bankrolled it, and then when Japan attacked them in 1941, it was like, the FDR was like, great. Let's get after it now. Like, it's been 2 years of us watching and waiting.
10-hour conspiracy theory videos on, was it provoked, the oil coming, you know. Like,
well, they had put an embargo on Japan, but the Japanese were very aggressive in the Pacific theater. They launched many attacks across the Pacific.
Seems like a really bad idea.
I mean, yeah.
On their points, like, what's the hidden narrative in that? Let's bomb the U.S.? Okay. It seems kind of dumb.
Surprise attack. But, the Japanese launched a surprise attack on the same day across the Pacific, right? It wasn't just Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor was just the most famous target.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so that was Apocalypse. Now, Black Swan, so good. Joker, yeah, you don't like that one much, eh?
Yes, yeah. I think in the spirit of the Joker, it doesn't work as a comic book movie.
Oh, yeah, I don't care about
it. It just, like, slaps the name and the makeup on something.
Yeah.
It's basically like Taxi Driver, but with the Joker. They're making a second one, so I don't really know what this is going to go into.
They are making a second one?
Yeah, it's just been kind of greenlit.
I kind of thought it was like nice to have its own little thing back.
It's still going to be its own little thing, but at the same time, like, to me, the Joker is like Heath Ledger's performance. That is like pinnacle Joker.
Yeah.
In terms of what I'm looking for as a supervillain.
Yeah.
This Joker, there's no way you could tell me that guy is going to beat the Batman in best Gotham City over and over and over again.
Right. No, I'm not telling you that at all. He doesn't even really mention Batman. Like, I don't know what
But the Waynes are in it. Like, I don't understand.
Maybe he doesn't even become Batman. You can't worry about any of that other stuff. You got to put the blinders on and just watch that, right?
And like, Joaquin Phoenix was tremendous, right? Yeah. He did a fantastic job, but it's just so...
Yeah.
I watched it again. I gave it a second chance. It's like, you know what, JG's going to make this list and it's going to be on there, so I'm going to give it a second chance, and he's just lucky.
Oh, yeah. It just spoke to me. And he's just going crazy and maybe parallels my insanity, I guess. I don't know. so I just love it.
You're out there dancing with your chickens. And...
Yeah. Fucking right. Dumb and Dumber.
Movie I have never seen.
You've never seen Dumb and Dumber?
No.
It might be number one, my favorite movie of all time.
Really?
Talk about quotable and stuff, right? Godfather went over it, Casablanca went over it. Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises sucked. I even thought the first one of that trilogy sucked.
Really? I love Batman because I think it's a really good movie, especially when you look at the character of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
You really get a lot more of him in that one. I'm really looking forward to The Batman in like 3 or 4 weeks here.
Anyway, we don't need to go through those mothers. That's all kind of just makes sense. We already touched on Infinity War and stuff. But yeah, so I left documentaries and animated movies off the list. You ever seen Icarus, the documentary?
Yep.
And Searching for Sugar Man?
No. I remember you were banging the table for that one when we were working at the Manhattan Grill.
Yeah, those are my 2 favorite documentaries that I could fit in the list somewhere. And then animated had WALL-E and Aladdin. Just watched WALL-E recently, actually.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Kind of cool how it's just all the fat people and we've ruined the earth, and it's like, oh man, this kind of singing the right tune here.
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of animated ones that like didn't that I could have maybe put on or didn't, like Toy Story would be a maybe.
Yeah.
The first Toy Story is really good.
Yeah.
Or like Moana.
Yeah.
Hercules.
I've never seen Moana.
It's really good.
And then just had a bunch of maybes. One that I had a hard time because I liked it so much, but I don't know if I like it that much more. Donnie Darko. Had Saving Private Ryan, maybe Shawshank Redemption. I almost feel bad leaving that in my top 20 because I really like that movie. A Star Is Born. I actually like that movie.
That's
People
good.
hate it. I almost don't even want to say it out loud.
Great movie.
Super bad. The Flintstones. Remember that old Flintstones movie with
like John Goodman?
Yes.
I it's probably kind of before my time, so I don't really know, but
loved that movie, man. I'm pretty sure I cried in theaters when I watched it. When, 4 years old or 3 years old or something.
Yeah.
Because I actually liked the Flintstones back then. My grandpa would record every episode of the Flintstones. And he had a room of tapes in his basement, and he had like the nicest VCR recorder. Put VHS tapes in it and would record Bugs Bunny, all these really old stuff. And then when the commercials came on, he would rewind it back up, and then he'd time it from when it comes back on and hit resume. So he had just these files and files, and he had it cataloged. And
that's sheer dedication.
These have all been lost to time too. It was just something he did. So I would love to get those tapes back, but just anytime I want to be like, hey, let's put on Bugs Bunny, it's like, okay, go down to the basement and we could pull out the tape and just be commercial-free Bugs Bunny.
That's awesome.
For the whole day. Step Brothers, The Green Mile. Almost could have had that on there.
I think that one is good. I've seen it once. All the performances are good. I haven't ever read a Stephen King book, so I don't know how closely that adheres to the book. But it's a quality movie.
Okay, that basically covers that. You might get it. Wizard of Oz was in my maybes too, right? Love that shit.
I don't know. Can I see them again?
You can look at it if you want. I think I had even like a couple in there. I think I had a couple into slots and I've crossed them off. Like had Wizard of Oz and had replaced it with something, right?
You replaced it with Army of Darkness.
Oh yeah, nice. I kind of forgot about that.
So there's why Army of Darkness? Like having never seen it. What's the big pull for you to add it into
I just think the acting is absolutely awesome. The guy that plays the main character. See, and I should know more about it if I'm going to hype it up, actually. But maybe we can put on a trailer or something. We'd have to. Oh boy, you can just watch the whole thing.
It's Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, thank you.
He was. I don't know if you've ever seen any of these storyboards or anything, but for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, he's the wrestling guy.
He pops up in all three of them, right?
Yeah.
So in the fourth one, he was supposed to be arrested, and it turns out he was Mysterio the whole time.
Oh, and that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Does it? It's gonna play into our headphones and not over
Drake.
Oh yeah, we don't want any of this.
Uncharted.
This will copyright that music will copyright us. But I don't think this will copyright us.
I know about this movie.
So this will just kind of give me some ideas of. Okay, so what does he just get? He gets sent back in time. He doesn't have an arm, and so he has a chainsaw.
Well, how does he lose his arm? Is it from The Evil Dead, or is it from the sequel?
And I don't even know if I've seen those movies. His hand goes evil, so he has to cut his own hand off, and the hand kind of comes after him. So his hand has a mind of its own. His hand, but I don't even think I've seen those prequels, which I might even like more than this movie. And he might even get sent back at the end of one of those movies. So he gets sent back to the Middle Ages. And he has a shotgun. Makes his own hand.
I appreciate how it's kind of a parody.
It is kind of like a dry humor parody thing, and a bunch of these one-liners and stuff like that.
Oh, Metallica.
And he has to go find this book, and he screws it up, so he unleashes the darkness upon the world, and so he has to fight himself sometimes.
Okay.
And we were talking even about interesting filming techniques and how they did.
Well, there's skeletons in this one, right?
Effects,
skeleton. Stop motion skeletons.
Stop motion, and then they would do a thing where they would film him acting a thing out, and then it's on you can kind of tell, and it's on a screen, and then he walks in, so he talks to himself, but it's just him on a screen. He does things where he gets like stabbed with a pitchfork against the wall, but he acts it out in reverse. The pitchfork's actually on him, and he pulls it up, but then they play it in reverse so that it looks like these things happen. And Bruce Campbell, like, I don't know if this is a real thing. My buddy Mike told me this, that Bruce Campbell's the best reverse actor in the history of the world or something like that. I don't know, but it's it's good. It's good stuff, man.
Okay. Yeah, Ninja Turtles kind of speaks for itself there. Black Hawk Down. That's a good one.
Okay, let's bang yours out.
Okay. Let me open it back up here. So I have my 1 through 5. Indiana Jones 1 was my 5th one there. Jurassic Park, which I know you think is overrated as a movie, sort of. It's my number 3.
I know it's like your favorite movie of all time.
It's one of them for sure. Django Unchained, number 8.
Yeah.
Jaws, Anchorman and Superbad, The Empire Strikes Back.
You know what, man? Lion King wasn't even good. Just gonna say it. I didn't like the music. Like
what?
Aladdin, I could sing along, and I thought the music. I've watched Lion King recently, and I just feel like the music was a little bit.
Doesn't hit you right in the feels. Elton John.
No.
Just can't wait to be king.
I like Elton John too.
I think it's tremendous.
Kind of looking across, yeah, man.
American History X.
Right.
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah,
I think it's someone who's played football. Well, how does it blow?
It's just like the too cheesy, too corny.
I think it's one of the more realistic football movies.
Oh, it's tails. Wait a minute, it's actually heads.
That actually happens. Have you read the book? That happens in the book.
What the fuck? Yeah, okay.
I read the book. They go into like very good detail about how that happens.
Yeah, cheesy and
it's
lame.
better than fucking some of these other garbage ones where they throw a double reverse pass at the end and it like deflects off someone's hands. They lose.
Yeah.
7. The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more to be said. Like as a movie, I think that one's so good.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges just suits that role. Everyone's so well cast.
Big Lebowski's as good as it gets, man.
Gladiator.
Yeah. Gladiator's wicked.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump's got to be on almost everybody's top 20. Very good.
It's just enjoyable. I mean, it's long, and you're gonna like. Some people don't like it, but and Man of Steel.
Nice. Star Wars. You had one Star Wars on there.
Empire
Rogue
Strikes
One
Back.
might be the best Star Wars.
It's a hot take, but I think it's good. I like Rogue One a lot, especially for that end scene where Darth Vader comes in and mows everyone down.
Yeah.
It fills in a nice gap in the Star Wars timeline. Do you want to rattle off all the maybes I had?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so ones that didn't make it.
This is all your maybe list, that whole list there?
Yeah. I just think I'll add one too, but I had 1 James Bond, and I was going to pick between Goldfinger or Casino Royale.
Oh, yeah, I guess. James Bond is that good?
Yeah. I mean, if you're thinking of like if we were making a list of like 20 movies you probably should see, like I would almost have to. Like how do you leave James Bond off of a cinema list? Like he's such to me he's an important character.
Yeah.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, see, and I just downloaded that. I don't think I've seen it.
It's good.
Just watched the first.
It's long, but
there's a lot that I haven't seen actually. That even when looking up like top 100 lists of stuff that black and white one you said on there, and just I can't even like remember a lot of them. 12 Good Men or something. 12 Bad Men.
A Dirty Dozen.
No. It's
about 9, 8. Like, what is it?
12 Angry Men?
Yeah,
9
I
Angry Men?
think it's 12. It's the one where they're like a jury and they're like adjudicating.
That's ranked up there as maybe the best movie ever. I've never seen it.
Huh. I haven't seen it either.
But The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is always on those lists. And
yeah, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
It's probably like the quintessential spaghetti western.
Yeah.
From that era.
I have it downloaded.
And it has like
gotta check it out.
Great soundtrack. Just like There's some like ones that are just enjoyable. The Mummy.
Yeah. When it first came out too, but then remember, like there was like the third Mummy, and wasn't there? Jet Li was the bad guy. Or something? That was the worst movie I've ever seen.
Have you seen the Tom Cruise The Mummy? That's maybe the worst movie I've ever seen.
Is it? Is that bad?
What else did I watch was shit? Oh, we watched the new Home Alone over Christmas. Whoa, god awful. Like maybe one of the worst movies I've seen in my entire life. Is that Macaulay
Culkin as an adult?
No,
they should do that.
They did it for like an Amazon commercial or something last year, the Super Bowl. But it's like Jojo Rabbit's like.
Never seen Jojo Rabbit.
It's really good. So he's got a friend in there. He's just like kind of husky little kid with glasses. Awesome in that role. Well, he's the Home Alone kid, and he sucks.
See, I even thought that other kid sucked.
It just makes you despise him in the movie. Like you're rooting for the. It's a bad movie. It's a bad story. It's a bad script.
I want to see this kid get murdered.
Yes, more or less. Zorro, like the first Zorro.
Oh boy, it's been a while since that's even been made.
Yeah, The Rundown, The Rock, and Sean William Scott. That
Really?
I could watch that action movie.
We watched that as part of one of our reviews, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always enjoyable. Logan.
Oh, Logan.
I know.
Ooh, maybe I could squeeze that in somewhere.
Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Wedding Crashers. I have a soft spot for Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
Like it's a good movie. It's not really historically accurate. Alien or Aliens.
Yeah.
The Terminator.
Oh, you know what? I really, really screwed up by not putting Terminator 2 on my list. Actually.
T2's tough, man. Like that's.
Oh yeah.
I kind of just like Arnold as the bad guy more than the.
Revise this. I'm gonna kind of.
Toy Story. I had Platoon on mine as a maybe.
Yeah.
Interstellar.
Right. See, Interstellar was good. I liked. Kind of the same. I don't know. The Martian a lot. Mm-hmm. Loved The Martian.
Martian's they're both based like quite in fact of like possibilities.
Yeah.
It, like the first It. I quite enjoyed.
Way back in the day? Or?
No. Like the new one.
Right.
Like, 7 years ago. I have The Matrix as a maybe.
Some of the same kids from Stranger Things.
Yeah. The first Matrix.
Yeah, you know what? I watched that recently and I really liked the first Matrix.
Yeah, so good. I watched the new one. It was not very good. Good Will Hunting.
Yes, that's on my maybes as well.
Avatar.
Yeah, don't like Avatar.
I think it's just
so overhyped, and it's like this. Was
going to see it in the theater though.
Yeah.
When that was like the most revolutionary 3D I've ever seen. Like
yeah,
it was so cool.
Yeah.
The Godfather, the first one I had on there, and then Inception.
Right. I tried watching Inception like 3 or 4 times. I just kept falling asleep. And so I've never actually fully watched the whole thing. It's like when I get home drunk, I've put it on and just ended up passing out. These are just some of the movies I downloaded recently that I'm trying to.
The Tour de France, stage 8 and 9.
Yeah. Yeah, I have all the Tour de France. But, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. See, never watched that. See, watched Apocalypse Now, Platoon recently. Godzilla vs. Kong, the new one, so bad. Scarface almost could make my.
I couldn't get into it.
This Dumb and Dumber, Clueless was okay. Citizen Kane, yeah. Anyway, I was trying to just give me some ideas. Yeah. Anyway, Star Wars is blue, man, and they're right out of my friggin'. Right out of my.
You're right out of your top 20. Just all Star Wars.
Just screw off. Screw off. They're just so. They made one good movie out of 20, and they all 19 shitty, sucky movies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you shouldn't even mention it. So, just one last time, top 20: Moneyball, Pulp Fiction, School of Rock, Apocalypse Now, Black Swan, Joker, Dumb and Dumber, Godfather, Casablanca, The Dark Knight, Ninja Turtles, Avengers: Infinity War, Black Hawk Down, Back to the Future Part 3, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Die Hard with a Vengeance, The Martian, Army of Darkness, Parasite, Happy Gilmore.
Die Hard with a Vengeance. I still don't understand how that's your favorite of those movies. Saving Private Ryan, The Dark Knight, Jurassic Park, Return of the King, Indiana Jones, and Ark of the Covenant, Infinity War, Pulp Fiction, Django Unchained, Jaws, Anchorman, Superbad, Empire Strikes Back, American History X, The Lion King, Friday Night Lights, Seven, The Big Lebowski, Gladiator, Forrest Gump, and Man of Steel. What are there any that you would just like vehemently not watch on my list ever?
I wouldn't watch Friday Night Lights again. I don't like that. Jaws was in there, right?
Yeah.
Jaws is super good. Can I just have a look at it?
Yeah. So what about Friday Night Lights do you not like other than the coin toss?
It's been a long time I watched it, so I wouldn't be able to really articulate any sort of answer that doesn't make me look stupid. So I just remember hating it. So just sour taste. Maybe I got beat up the night before, so I just was in a bad mood when I watched it or something.
Took an L at football that week.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah. Might have to watch Gladiator again. Yeah, that's good. Not a lot of classics in yours, hey? Yours is all kind of...
But, I mean, we're talking...
Jaws maybe is kind of like the 70s or something.
Yeah, 1974.
And maybe Empire Strikes Back, but other than that...
1980?
No black and whites, no...
No, I mean, at this point, like, some of those movies are, you know, in the 90s are classics.
Yeah, like the first Jurassic Park.
Yeah, 28 years ago?
Talk about Jurassic Park, aren't they doing... Didn't they film one in Kamloops just
just
4 years ago? Why isn't that coming out?
Two. It comes out this summer.
Oh.
There should be a trailer in the Super Bowl, I think, actually.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And they're in the snow? Or the dinosaurs must get out then?
They're already out. Because they got shipped from the island to
because
California.
The volcano went off and a lot of them died and they saved some of them or something? Yeah.
So it's Jurassic World Dominion is the new one.
Those were not very good.
The last one was absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see with this one. I just hope they don't do any more like genetically modified Velociraptor or T-Rex bullshit. I'm tired of them being a monster movie. Just give me like a more closer to the first two where it's not the dinosaurs aren't the villain. The dinosaurs are just part of the plot.
I totally agree because like remember when she's in the high heels running away from the fucking...
the Indominus, or the T-Rex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, come get me. And whereas like the Jeep was outrunning it in the last one.
Yeah, well, the T-Rex goes 40 miles an hour. I mean, yeah, granted she's older, but...
Who is the bad guy? What is the antagonist? It's kind of...
chair just broke.
Oh, that's okay. I'll put that on here. I'll send you the bill.
Who is the bad guy? Well, it's like obviously like
man versus nature,
man
almost
versus
kind of
meddling in nature and stuff, and you know corporate greed is the bad guy, but you know, not many people get their comeuppance in those ones. We'll see. I mean, it's always cool to see dinosaurs eat people on the big screen.
I had just looked up like the top 100 movies of all time or something somewhere, put together a list. So I'm just trying to see if some that I'm like, oh man, I've heard of that one a ton of times, but just never actually watched it.
If if we both couldn't pick Infinity War, and it was like no Infinity War Endgame, what would your Marvel MCU movie be? Because I don't think I can not, after 10 plus years of their franchise and weaving everything together and making it come to such a good crescendo with those two movies.
Yeah.
What's something that you could substitute that for that you'd feel confident like encapsulates that franchise?
Almost the first one, because it was just like all those movies were kind of put together coming out, and then that came out, I was like, holy, they actually did it super awesome.
I think
some of the Iron Mans maybe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to really... I think Spider-Man's were kind of good. The new Spider-Man was actually pretty good.
I really like the new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, you saw Far From Home, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What about Ragnarok?
Yeah, Ragnarok was good. Really good. But kind of funny and just good.
Yeah.
Is that where he goes to the other planet and fights the Hulk in the ring?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of those all
I think
together.
the one that I could replace it with Infinity War is, I think you're right, the first Avengers, although I don't enjoy it as much as Captain America 3 Civil War. I think that one is maybe like the most important
first
one.
Kind of view of Spider-Man.
First view of Spider-Man. You have many heroes. You get the first Black Panther appearance, right? You have ideals clashing between Captain America and Iron Man.
Anyway, I tried to look up 100 best movies, like the list is on. There's like thousands of fucking lists, so I don't even want to sort through the. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, a lot of those old black and white ones, I can't even.
I've seen Lawrence of Arabia.
Right.
That's usually on those lists. It's one of the last true epics.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. Like, it's long.
Was there another one like that? Ben-Hur.
I've never seen Ben-Hur.
I mean, I think it's like 4 hours long or something crazy.
Like the Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
That one usually takes up like a whole day if you ever catch it on
Christian
TV.
Bale did he played Noah Moses or something.
Yeah. He played Moses and it was I remember that movie. And Joel Edgerton played the Pharaoh. Came out maybe like 7-8 years ago. I know what you're talking about though.
Can't remember what that's called. Yeah, anyway, so that kind of good. Glad we had that done. I'm going to probably have to revise my list and stuff here as we go on, so I might have to open up a future show with.
Yeah. I don't even know if I know enough documentaries to make that many. Like a big list.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a lot of sports documentaries and stuff like that, but not like an actual documentary film as much.
Some of them are good. Seaspiracy, stuff like that. Like, you're not going to put in your favorite movies list and stuff like that.
No. I mean, you have to always consider it's shot from a perspective.
Blackfish.
Blackfish is good.
Yeah,
I really like
right?
I don't know if you consider it a documentary movie, but The People, OJ Made in America.
Yes.
So that's maybe one of my favorites. That miniseries.
Is that with like Cuba Gooding?
No, that's The People versus OJ Simpson. That's a movie, but it's a 30 for 30, but it's like a long 30 for 30.
Oh, the one I'm talking about was like, I want to say like a season, like an 8-part season where it's not a documentary. It is just a mini.
Yeah, that might be that one. But
Cuba Gooding Jr.
This one
plays OJ?
Yeah, he does. But the OJ Made in America like documentary that kind of goes through his whole life.
Yeah.
And then like really focuses in on those few years of the trial and the murder and what he does after, as well as mixes in the historical police violence and race tensions in LA at that time in California. It's like
right, because it's just a couple years so after they acquit those cops for beating the shit out of Rodney King.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild if you've seen that video. It's
crazy.
Like,
well, and like the Watts riots and stuff like that. And, yeah. Well, you can get away with it now because we've seen them 2 years ago, like guys are getting off for killing unarmed black men in the street in Kenosha and Minneapolis and all over America still.
They got those guys for stomping that back of that guy's head, right? And George Floyd?
I think so. But they let that fucking kid go for coming down and shooting those protesters from another state.
Right. I think just based on this is a whole different can of worms, but I don't think you could really he got attacked and shot them, and they were white people.
But why are you showing up to a peaceful protest with an AR-15 when you're 16 years old?
Nothing illegal about that.
Well,
but he's looking for trouble, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But nobody didn't punch.
But what authority does he have when the police are handling it?
Doesn't.
None. So why are you there?
Police are handling it real good.
Well, they have authority. I'm not saying they did a good job or a bad job.
I thought his uncle or something had a shop there. He was defending property.
No, he was not.
But only people that hit him in the head with a skateboard got shot. Only people that are kicking him in the face when he's on the ground got shot.
Well, don't go out looking to antagonize people that are already in a elevated state. Like I wouldn't.
But looking to antagonize people isn't a crime,
It isn't, but you're kind of like stirring the pot for no reason in that situation.
I'm pro pot stirring, so that's maybe why.
You are at sometimes, but I don't think any child should have an AR-15 in their hands.
Just what a fucked up situation. We got our own little situation. Convoy. We went to Vancouver yesterday to play rugby.
Oh yeah, there's a huge blockade downtown.
Oh yeah, we avoided downtown. I think Chandler was actually looking up on the app the routes to take, and he was at the front directing the bus driver where to go. But you couldn't miss it between Abbotsford Chilliwack all the way over Port Mann. It was all in there. It was on a Saturday, so it's not like traffic was that bad, and it was all just in the right lane, moving slow, and the other lanes were free. It didn't bug us that much. We were maybe delayed us 10 minutes, and then people on the overpasses, signs, flags, fuck Trudeau, all this, right?
Yeah.
All this, and it's just kind of, whether you agree with it or not, it kind of wakens you to realizing how much like global news spins the narrative in CBC, and didn't even like the federal government give hundreds of millions of dollars to media, and how does that play, and why are they doing that? So it's all a deeply entrenched, media spinning. Like that Chinese kid, he was like, "Oh, you guys watch the news here?" And it's like, "What? You don't watch the news in China?" He's like, "Oh no, we just know it's propaganda, so we don't watch it."
Wow, it's a little different over there.
Kind of spinning. It's not really the news anymore.
I think our government has a little less hand in what goes on. I mean, CBC, yeah, because they're a government-owned institution, but CTV is not.
Right.
What I know.
Yeah. Why are those leans so heavily left? Why is global basically, the commie parade? I don't really get it.
I don't know. But I'm just getting tired of the COVID rules as much as everyone else, but let's maybe go about it in a less stupid way.
Yeah. Super Bowl's going on. You're going to pack 70,000 people into that building. People packing it. Was watching
100,000.
Right.
They could expand that stadium to 100,000.
And was watching Montreal Canadiens. And they got lost like 8-1 and not a person.
Zilch in that stadium.
Ouch. Who you got in the Super Bowl?
Oh, man. I think if you look at on paper, head-to-head matchup across the board, team to team, the Rams take almost every category.
Right, but the Bengals have lost every one of those categories in the last few games, right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think I'm hoping it's a good game. The one thing that I think could ruin the Bengals is the Rams defense shows up to play, especially their pass rush. The Bengals are fucked.
And Bengals don't have the greatest O-line, really, right?
No, I mean, they got nearly boat raced by Tennessee with 9 sacks. I mean, they get a little bit better against Kansas City, but I don't think Kansas City has as good pass rush as Tennessee.
You're right.
And I think Tannehill's 3 interceptions, you take away one of those, or if he hands the ball to Derrick Henry on 3rd and 1 late in the game instead of pulling it, taking a 3-yard loss, and then hand it to him again on 4th and 3.
Yeah.
They're in field goal range to kick that field goal. Cincinnati plays a whole different game down the stretch there.
Man, how good to be honest, I think been, man.
I mean, really, like that fucking divisional round was awesome. That Chiefs-Bills game was one for the age. Maybe one of the best football games I've seen in a long time, especially that like last 4-minute span of Josh Allen just putting...
It's like, oh, that's it, they win. Oh, no, that's it, they win. Oh, no, that's it, they win. There was 3 that's it, they wins in the last minute of the game.
Yeah, the overtime rules are absolute horseshit.
What do you think they should do?
I
think they should put 10 minutes on the clock. Say fire it. Two timeouts each, 10 minutes on the clock, like fire it up.
Regular season overtime? That's what it is.
No, but you can score 50 touchdowns in that 10 minutes.
Oh, I think
10 minutes, you let the clock run out, so you actually have to play time. When you start doing stuff like colleges start at the 25 or
I don't
whatever,
think that's
not really football anymore.
That's not the solution.
Game management, clock management, that's all part of football. So I don't like the whole series for series. Each team, like even if you score a touchdown, should the other team, like you still kick off and the other team has a chance to do it, is what a lot of people are.
Yeah, I think I like how they revised the rule to be if you kick a field goal, the other team has a chance to now match or win.
Right.
On the next possession. I think that's totally great.
Yeah.
But I think now, after we see the Falcons lose the Super Bowl this way, the Chiefs lose the AFC Championship this way with the Patriots,
right,
and now the Bills go out this way,
yeah,
you have these marquee quarterbacks sitting on the bench and not touching the football in overtime,
yeah,
when they are red hot.
Yeah.
I think you need to give in these do-or-die situations. I don't care about the regular season.
Yeah.
Whatever, keep the same rules. But come playoffs, you give each team a possession no matter how the other team scores offensively.
Right.
If you score on a touchdown on your first possession, like the Chiefs did,
yeah,
the Bills get a chance to go score and match.
Okay.
If you don't match it, it's over.
Okay, what if you do match it?
Then you play next score wins.
Okay.
Right?
But then if it goes back to Mahomes and he scores, people are going to go, what? Then they should get another chance.
No, but Buffalo's had their chance. Your defense has gotten a rest now. You can stop them. However, if you go out there, you kick the ball off on your opening kickoff,
yeah,
and the team runs it back for a touchdown,
yeah,
over.
Right.
If you go for it on fourth down and you get the punt returned on you for a touchdown, over.
Yeah.
I think a defensive or special team score should end the game.
Right.
Like pick six, cut it. Your team has had a possession.
Yeah.
Now your defense has taken it away and scored a touchdown.
Right. I'd like to see just throw another quarter on in the playoffs.
Just let them play it out.
Maybe not a full 15-minute, maybe.
But that's how it goes, right? It's even as hockey, right? Like hockey goes 20-minute continuous overtime, sudden death.
Yeah.
But once you score, it's over.
Right. No, I think you put 10 minutes on the clock, and if it's tied again, you put 10 minutes, and you just keep putting 10 minutes on. Football is tough because it's so physically demanding. If you're going to start adding, if it goes into third and fourth overtime, you're going to see people getting really hurt. Mm-hmm. So you kind of got to avoid that. Yeah. But maybe a 10-minute, and then...
Mm-hmm. I don't think the solution is, though, to do it like college, where it's Texas shootout.
Yeah, no, that's too... you're not playing football anymore.
No, you're not. You're playing the...
Punting's out of the game when you do that. There's a lot of stuff you're not playing.
And the kickers
football.
are too good, right? We've seen routinely this year, guys nail it from 55 plus.
Right.
And so all you have to do in this situation now is you get to the 35-yard line, you take a knee, run the ball maybe once, and you can kick a field goal to win the game on your second possession.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what the answer... I don't have an answer, really.
Yeah.
But I've always kind of thought, well, like... If you don't like the way that both people don't get the chance, like you made it to overtime. You had all afternoon to figure it out. You know what I mean? And so you tied. So if you lose that, then you lose.
But
even if it's just a coin, people are like, then it comes down to a coin flip. Well, then it comes down to a coin flip.
I know, but like I don't think it should come down to that coin toss.
Right.
I mean, there's the solutions that people are like, well, you toss the coin for overtime at the start of the game, and then they choose. Like you get to choose whether you want to receive the opening kickoff.
Which you always do now. And as defense is getting legislated out, it's becoming more advantage offense. So whoever ends up with that first possession just has a big advantage, right? Yeah. Which is, like, I guess, unfair, but you know what I mean?
I mean, I get it. Like, play defense, right? Those guys are getting paid too on the other side of the ball.
Not as much, not really anymore, right? It's all offense. All the rules are for the offense. You even see big hits that are clean getting, penalized and shit, right?
But again, like, you had Matt Ryan sit on the bench as your league MVP and lose the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You had Patrick Mahomes, the league MVP that year, lose the AFC Championship game because the Patriots just possessed the ball, went all the way down the field.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, not saying he's going to win the MVP, but he's a top 3 candidate. Yeah. Just ripped your defense to shreds for a whole quarter. Yeah. Sit on the bench, not touch the football.
Yeah. 5 minutes probably isn't enough to put on for overtime because then you could just run one possession right down. Yeah. But I think 10 minutes would be pretty tough to run a whole possession.
It depends, right? Like it depends what your offense is scaled around.
So if you do a 9-minute and 45-second drive and you win, then maybe you deserve it and use up all that 10 because then it does bring in the whole aspect of football. Might have to go 4 and 4, whatever you want to do. But I don't know, 10, even 15 minutes, but 15 minutes is probably too much.
Yeah,
8 minutes.
I'm okay with the rules changing from regular season to postseason in terms of overtime.
I like hockey. Hockey's like 3-on-3 then shootout.
That 3-on-3 is wild.
Yeah,
like that really opened up the game. Like, and I'm glad they got rid of ties because ties, no one likes a tie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I circled back to rule. I think I got the Rams. I think I got the Rams 27-17.
27-17. Well, I'm just going to take the Bengals. Last second field goal, like 34-31.
That's how they've been winning, man.
Like 34-31 or something
34-31. Wow. I think this, like, I have faith in Joe Burrow, but I think the Bengals, I just don't think they match up as well as other teams could have.
Yeah.
So
much stuff is out the window for Super Bowl.
Well, I know.
How do you sleep at night the night before Super Bowl?
Well, and that 30-minute halftime really fucks with you.
You don't sleep all week, right? And you look at these professional, highly primed athletes. Some of them, Tom Brady probably sleeps fine because he's...
Beat at 10.
Yeah, he's basically does it every year.
Yeah.
Where... Some people, young guys, right? Huge stadium, lights.
Rams are at home, though. That's a huge advantage for them, right?
Huge advantage because they're sleeping in their own bed.
Probably until
at
2 days
home.
before.
Probably have your kids there and stuff, and so you got to go home and
decompress,
eat dinner with your wife and stuff. So it feels like home. So it feels like just another day. Whereas you come in because they come a week early sometimes.
Yeah, I think they land today usually.
And so you get so caught up in all of that.
Well, the media day is like Tuesday, right? That's a whole day of itself where you're not really practicing, you're in meetings.
And you just drive around the city, billboards everywhere. I don't know how crazy Los Angeles is going to be for Super Bowl, but I bet it'll be pretty crazy.
That's going to be wild. It's the first time I think they've had it since like the 90s.
With stuff all around town, who knows, concerts and the stuff leading up to it, I would imagine.
Yeah. Have you been following like any of the big storylines of the offseason yet?
Just Tom Brady retiring.
Great. Get him out of here.
That's the
good riddance.
I heard that the Pat McAfee show, I think, is that it, that the Dolphins, he wanted to go to the Dolphins, and the Dolphins said, no, we're sticking with Fitzmagic.
Yep.
And that was where he said that little quote bit, you're going with that idiot or something, or you're going with that guy?
So, but like, I don't know if you followed this. So, because this week, Brian Flores, ex-coach of the Dolphins, piss poor job, but we fired him. But fuck.
I thought they did awesome.
I don't know why they fired him, other than everything that seems to be coming out now is he didn't get along with the owner, and Stephen Ross is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But what happened in this is Stephen Ross that offseason had Tom Brady on his yacht. This is like all alleged, but he wanted Flores to meet with a quarterback, a prominent league quarterback, on his yacht in Miami, and Brian Flores said no, and Stephen Ross was like, okay, like I won't invite him then. Brian Flores goes to the yacht, sits down, and who's there? This prominent league quarterback, and obviously this guy's still under contract at this time.
Right.
So Brian's like, this is tampering. We're going to get fined. We're going to get so screwed by the league. Like, I got to leave. I can't be a part of this. And so allegedly that quarterback was Tom Brady.
Right.
And so Brian Flores follows the rules of the league and doesn't want to ruin his team's chances at draft picks, fines, suspension. And so he leaves. And Stephen Ross just bumbles his way around. That guy's a terrible owner, man. Terrible owner. Flies in for games from New York and then leaves. Fires his only coach that's had 2 winning seasons since the early 2000s.
Yeah.
He was trying to... I don't know if you followed this lawsuit that he's filing against him.
No.
So Brian Flores went out this week and he's filing a class action lawsuit against the league and the Dolphins, Giants, and the Broncos specifically, citing like racism and like bribery. So Stephen Ross, when they first hired him, was like, I will pay you $100,000 for every time you intentionally lose a game.
Oh.
So we can tank our draft status to get Joe Burrow.
Right.
And so, again, huge...
That's operating in bad faith? And that's
huge implications, right? Especially considering...
Betting. The
betting, right?
So into
and
betting.
Allegedly, Stephen Ross has invested a lot of money in an online sports betting.
Is it unlawful to...
Yes.
Tank your football games?
I think it's unlawful if you can control the result.
But you control like you want to lose, so you could put out your backups even.
Well, but that's the thing. Like no player wants to lose, right? Like, could you imagine going out there? You worked your entire life.
That's why you put backups and bad players in, because you're not going to ask your players to just do bad.
That was arguably the worst team assembled in like the NFL and whatnot. I saw them live. They were atrocious. They started out 0-8, and the first 4 games they had a negative 169 point differential.
Yikes!
In 4 weeks.
But they just want that draft pick. Maybe you have to do something about what I really like about European sports.
Relegation.
If you are in that tank at the very end of the year, right? Like if you're not watching a team that's 3-16.
No.
In football. But if there's something crazy online, you get kicked out of the league. Kind of keeps it interesting, right?
It does. There's just not enough lower leagues to like elevate a team, you know?
We split the NFL into 2 20-team leagues.
That would be interesting.
We have a B league.
But,
I'm not saying these are good ideas. It's just, something that keeps those end of the year games still interesting.
I think it's a draft position.
And you don't want that draft position. Yeah. How do you do the draft though? I mean, how do you award it to?
Yeah, that's tough. But so anyway, so that was part of the lawsuit is he was trying to bribe him for those $100,000 a game to lose. And the other part is he is citing that the Giants mock interviewed him basically to just appease the Rooney Rule in the NFL. Yeah. And the Rooney Rule is set in place so you have to interview minority candidates for head coach positions or upper management positions. And so he has texts that have been released from him and Bill Belichick. So the Giants ended up hiring Brian Dable, who was the offensive coordinator in Buffalo. Yeah. And so the day before his interview, Brian Flores' interview, Bill Belichick sends him a text like, hey, congratulations. I'm hearing from like sources inside the Giants and from the Bills that you're their guy. Oh. And he's like, really? Like, that's great to hear. Like, I'm really hoping to get this job. And then Brian Flores texts back. He's like, Bill, are you meaning Brian Flores or Brian Dable? Because obviously their names in his phone are like this. right? Bryant spelled the same way. Dable, Flores, like those letters are 3 apart.
And he probably needs glasses
old.
too to look at his thing. Or
But Bill Belichick's pretty schemy, man. Like I don't think he's that dumb. So, and he's like, oh shit, sorry, I thought I meant Brian Dable. And
I have not heard of this.
And so Brian Flores, knowing this information, now has to interview the Giants, knowing he's not going to get hired in good faith. And they're just doing it to check the Rooney Rule box off their list to say, oh yeah, we interviewed this guy and we don't want him.
Right. But I mean, at least they're interviewing it. Like,
but it's a sham interview, right? Like, go to a job interview knowing you're not going to get it. Even
kind of a shame them saying you have to be like, if they are looking at other guys and stuff, and it's like, well, we have to do something here just to appease the rules, even though this other guy's our guy.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, maybe we'll give him a chance. Even we'll listen to what he has to say. But we know this guy's our guy. Well, we still have to interview a black guy.
But the fact that the league is 70% African American and you have one active African American head coach,
not a good look.
Not a good look.
Not a good look at all.
I don't think that's not good.
Plantation mentality or whatever those guys call it, right? It's like, well, why haven't
Yeah, so
and you would think there would be a lot of maybe some of those, hype men, college style black coaches that are, that the players would play so hard for and love.
Well, I think Brian Flores is one of those guys. He's not a hype guy.
Yeah.
And maybe he's a little bristly and with their nuts, but he gets the most out of those.
I was going to say, getting the most out of players is the skill in itself, and so
winning games,
yeah, why would you listen to some old white guy when you could, maybe?
I don't know. The GM in the Dolphins is a big yes man, and Brian Flores wasn't a big yes man, and he just wanted to win.
Yeah.
But hey, I like you fire him after you go 9-8 after winning 8 out of the last 9 games. I don't think that's fair. But if you told me in October and they were 1-7, he's got to go because of performance. Sure, fire him in October. Don't fire him in January after he's just missed the playoffs by a half a game.
Yeah.
So we'll interesting to see how this lawsuit unfolds. But he's probably never going to coach in the NFL again.
Because that'd be like, what, you're going to lawsuit us?
Like blackballed Kaepernick for taking a knee.
Kaepernick is still in Madden.
I know. He's like 82 overall. Like, there's some really bad players in that game that have played more recently that should be higher rated than him.
Yeah. It's true, the NFL, man. They are corporate bullshit. Like that's why any of that stuff surprises people. It makes no sense to me because it's like they are all fucking bottom line big American corporations. You don't have a small feel for any of that stuff, right?
No.
Like, I mean, some of these baseball teams have, I guess football does, like, just such a strong following, Americanized, commercialized, money-making big machine. Doesn't even have minor leagues. Like,
well, I mean,
sport's not good for you. It's like you're going to fucking brain damage all these poor people and injure them and, I don't know, underpay them.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, some guys are getting underpaid, some guys aren't.
Yeah. Anyway, we're kind of getting to that any more longer than this, and it's hard to upload. So we're sitting at 1:14. So let's just call her there and go Bengals.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a good game. Last year was a stinker.
Yeah.
The year before that was pretty good, and the year before that was a stinker.
Last year was a stinker?
It was Buccaneers, Chiefs, and it was a blowout.
And the year before that was...
Chiefs, 49ers.
And the year before that was the...
Patriots and Rams. And that was just like, it was like 13-6 or something like that.
Fuck, the Patriots won that recently, hey?
Yeah. Ugh. Get them out of here.
That era is over, looks like.
We'll see.
All right, buddy, thanks for coming by.
Yeah.